Good afternoon, everybody. May I ask you please to take your seats? I'm Bernd Liss from GIZ. I'm heading the section Climate Change and Climate Policy. I've been involved in the NDC Hub Pacific from the very beginning, and I'm very glad to be your moderator for this session. So, welcome to this side event at the NDC Partnership Pavilion. NDC Partnership is a very important player in supporting countries to design and to implement their NDCs. The program we present today will be on the Pacific NDC Hub. This is a major contribution, a regional contribution to the NDC Partnership, funded by a variety of donors. From our Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, Ms. Birgit Strube is here, from the Division Partnerships. Then from Australia, Australia is engaged, and this is Kirsten Tilley. She's the Australian Ambassador for Climate Change. And then we have from GGGI, one of our partners, Ingvild Solvang. She's the Deputy Director and Head of Climate Action and Inclusive Development. So we see the first week of COP is almost over. Negotiations are quite tough. I've learned there's a lot still ahead. But we also see that here showcasing we have a lot of achievements already made. We are, of course, taking note that the negotiations is not all about national commitments and global responsibility, solidarity. It's also about finance and also about ideas and how to reduce the effects of climate change by adapting and mitigating the consequences of climate change. Also, we are discussing about strengthening efforts for climate and environmentally friendly agriculture, about transport systems, how to phase out the use of coal, fossil fuels in total, and to slow down global warming. Today we are here to showcase some of the practical examples of working together to fight climate change in the Pacific in a joint effort of the Pacific Islands governments, of regional organizations, of technical assistance and academia institutions, and of course with the support of our generous donors. This session will highlight the work and success stories of the Regional Pacific NDC Hub, which was launched in 2017 at the COP23 of Fiji in Bonn as a vehicle to support Pacific Island countries to achieve their commitments under the Paris Agreement. We will learn more about the Pacific Hub later on in a presentation by Anne-Claire. I would just like to make you aware that there is a participant list circulated, so please just sign up. And also that there is a QR code on the wall. You may scan it to later. We have a small survey on the event, so you may give your answers there. But now let's come to the opening section, and I would like to call, first of all, Ambassador Kirsten Tilley. She was formally announced as Australia's Ambassador for Climate Change in November 2022. Before, Kirsten held several senior positions in the federal government, including most recently as a head of Office of Supply Chains Resilience. And previously she has been working in the international and domestic climate space, so policy space. So Christine, please, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Bernd Marcus, and hi everyone. Thanks very much for the opportunity to come and celebrate the achievements of the Pacific Regional NDC Hub, which I think, as we're about to hear, have been absolutely excellent. So I'm really pleased to represent Australia here to showcase the work of the Regional NDC Hub. We're really proud to have supported the Hub since its inception. And in particular, I think I'm personally very impressed by the fact that the NDC Sub has its first all-female steering committee and chair, so well done. And of course, as we'll discover at the end, we're here to congratulate Tuvalu for releasing their NDC, so well done to Tuvalu. Australia is committed to supporting enhanced climate action in our region through increased climate finance and new partnerships. We've previously committed 700 million in climate finance to the Pacific between 2020 and 2025. And on top of that, just a few weeks ago at our federal budget in late October, the government committed to increase ODA to Pacific countries by an additional $900 million over the next 4 years. And a lot of that funding will absolutely flow to climate change projects. Domestically, we're also implementing a substantial suite of new policies across the economy to drive our own transformation to net zero, which directly responds to calls of many countries, including Pacific Island countries, about the urgent need to reduce emissions. At the recent Pacific Island Forum Leaders meeting this year, Australia joined Pacific leaders in declaring that the Pacific is facing a climate emergency. And we certainly do know and respect that climate change is an existential threat for our Pacific family. The Pacific NDC Hub plays an important role in supporting collaboration in the region. It is absolutely made for the Pacific, by the Pacific. It plays a significant role in harnessing knowledge and expertise to support Pacific countries to transition to sustainable, low carbon and climate resilient futures. The governance of the Hub enables Pacific leadership and national ownership of its requests for assistance, enabling Pacific countries to access support for high priority policy work. The sorts of projects include revisions and updates to NDCs, investment roadmaps, low emission development strategies, sectoral plans and other analytical climate work. The growth of the Hub demonstrates the significant demand for its services, in particular technical assistance in the region, as well as